I wanted to go through and, just for clarity, go and show you how we were able to get the logger pro graphs that I provided you. So we went through on Friday and we went and did our braking analysis, and we were able to brake at different speeds, starting at 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35 miles per hour. And your task is going to be essentially going and analyzing that data, analyzing our manual data, and then comparing it to the data that we had in the past. So, to begin with, this is one of our videos, for example. Okay, so we have this lovely video, 30 hey Britta, okay, 30 mile per hour video. And we went over, and eventually you'll see that there's a car. Oh yay, driving across. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how we're going to take this and we're going to analyze this within Logger Pro and what I did to get the graph that you were looking at. So when we're looking at this particular Logger profile, what you're going to want to do, or what I did, is I went insert movie. I ended up going through and selecting then the movie that I wanted. And the movie that I wanted in this case would be the 30 mile per hour video. So let me get into that 30 mile per hour video real quick. And with that, one of the first things I do is I want to go through and get to the right point in the video. So what I worked on here was getting to the car to directly where it would be hitting the cone, give or take. And then I went over here, and the first thing I did was go and take my vehicle and put in my length. So the length of my vehicle, according to my spreadsheet, was 4.39 meters. So 4.39 meters. And then I set my origin. I decided to have my origin right at the front where the car is. So I put that there, and then I changed the alignment so that it would be directly in line with where the vehicle is going. And now this is going to be the first phase when I'm driving. So in theory, I'm driving at a constant velocity from here to when the Quinn lifted up the flag. So what I do then is just do a little dotty action here. And when it came to Quinn's flag, what I did for all of these is I went over and I waited till Quinn's elbow was up. So just about there. And then at that point I was like, okay, now it's time that this would be the reaction time. So I went over and added a point. This is a new point set. So this would be during the reaction period. So first phase, moving at a constant velocity. Second phase, moving during a reaction time. So still moving at a constant velocity, but waiting for the brakes to go on. So now the next phase, as we keep clicking and clicking and clicking, is to wait until the brakes come on. So the brakes come on at this point, and you can see that from the red back here. So then I go over and I flip over to the next data point. This third data set is when the car then is in theory braking. So what I do then is I make the little dotty action. And yeah, we probably should have not had people in front, but that's okay. For the most part, I could get a pretty good idea as to where that was. Clicky, clicky, clicky. And what you see is a really cool phenomenon when it comes to looking at these little dots. We typically in physics call that motion maps. And you can see what's happening to my dots as it slows down. Between each slide, it's less time and 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 less time. And when I say time, I mean less distance between, sorry. So less distance between each of those different dots, demonstrating then that my car is slowing down. In other words, it's not moving as far as you go from slide to slide. And I keep going until the car comes to rest. And it's about there. So that's what I did. And one last thing before I get going on here if I click over back to where we began, the one thing I did do too is, oh no, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, at this first point, I ended up clicking down here on this little button, and I had my graph time start at 0. So in other words, at that point, at the origin, at 0 seconds, that's when it hit the cone. So then I clicked OK, and you'll see that you have these graphs that have different colors. You have the first set of colors for the constant velocity. This green part is the reaction time, and then the slowing down part. Now, what I also did then is I went over and I named my axes, or named my columns here. The first one would be the first portion of that graph, and I called that position constant velocity. And then the next one, I went over here, and this was the Vx one. I called that velocity, and this was the constant V velocity information. Then I bumped over here to the x2 part. x2 is going to show me position, except this is during the second phase. So this would be the position during my reaction time. And then Vx2 is going to be my velocity during that same reaction time. And then I have my third portion of my graph, which is over here, and that's going to be my position during my braking time. And then I bump over a little bit further again, and I get my Vx3, so this is going to be my velocity during my braking time. Now, what I also did is I got rid of the graph on the first page, and I ended up creating then additional pages to make it a little easy. So my next page was going to be position versus time graph. So I went over and I inserted a graph. I increased the size here of my graph. And on this first one, I would go and double click on the y-axis. And what I wanted on the y-axis is only to have the position. So position during constant velocity, position during the reaction time, and position during the braking time. So those are the only 3 pieces that I want on there, and then I double clicked on it and I made it into just the point symbols. So you had that kind of graph going on. And then I inserted my next page, and that was going to be my velocity versus time graph. And on that velocity versus time graph, so I need to insert the graph again. Let me go and make the graph a little bigger again. I go over here and I make on my axis again, because this is velocity, I want those 3 velocities again. So velocity constant velocity, velocity reaction time, and velocity braking. And those are the only ones I want. And you get this kind of graph going on. Now, one last thing I do want to show you, and this is going to help you with your analysis. When you go through and you take your points and you want to analyze this reaction time, let's say, if you click and drag and you click just, and you have the little dark blue box only on that reaction time, literally at the bottom of it all the way up to the upper corner, then down here in the lower left-hand corner, it gives you your change in time data and your change in position data. So this is really important when it comes to being able to fill in that table easily. You can find your change in velocity or change in time data, how much time elapsed during your reaction time, and how much time elapsed during, or how much position change elapsed, your distance in other words, during your reaction time also. So that's a very helpful piece. In addition, one last thing, just a reminder, if you want to find slopes of anything, you want to select the data that you're interested in, select it. Click on your linear fit button up here, and then click on whichever one you want, whether it's the constant velocity position or time data, reaction time data, or braking data, and then it should give you your slope information, your y-intercept information. Anyway, that is that. I know it was a long, rambling kind of video, but I hope it gives you a little idea as to what I did to get each of those longer paragraphs, just to kind of make it a little easier so that we could focus more on the data as opposed to struggling with getting that all to work out or line up. Let me know if you have questions. Otherwise, I'm super excited to see all your data. It's going to be awesome and come up with some great kind of analyses here. And like I said, one last thing. If you want to go and copy this graph, I think you can click on this graph. If you click on this graph and click and drag, oh no, that didn't work. if you click on the graph and you go edit, copy, you should be able to copy your graph on. So for example, if I'm in Word or in whatever document, I should be able to paste it right in and wait for it. There's my graph. So if you want to do that, if you need to get graphs, that's the best way of doing it. Click on the graph, copy it, and just paste it right in. Okay, now for the remaining couple seconds here, I want to go and show anyone who doesn't know how to do a Google Docs. So if you're done, if you know how to do Google Docs and share it, you can go and log out. Otherwise, I'm going to show you a little video on how to do that also. So if you're over here, this is my professional Twitter account. Woo, exciting! Anyway, so this is the deal. If you are over here, so for example, this is my email account. I am on Google Drive is usually where you go. If you want to create a file that you want to share with me, so in other words, this is what I would recommend you do for your lab. Go over to Create, and then click on Document. And you can do this on the iPads too. You're going to go up to the Untitled, and we're going to call this Breaking Analysis Lab Write-Up. And this is where you're going to enter in all your data. You're going to go and paste your graphs in here. Maybe I'm trying too hard to do this right now. But you're going to paste it in there. Hopefully it'll eventually come together. But what I want to show you now is going through and clicking on the share. In order to share it with me and share it with your partners, you're going to want to click over here on the share button. You're going to want to enter the names. Enter the names over here. So for example, if I want to share this with Ms. Landish, I would go Landish. Oh, J Landish. Ah, there we go. Click on that. I can go and send a message to her over here. And what I'd like you to do is I want you to go and click on whenever you add me. So this is what you're going to do for me. You're going to add me, M. Voigt. And once you add me, I want you to go over and click on Can Comment. That's important so that I can comment on your report and give you feedback. So Can Comment, and then you're going to click on Save and Share, and do this with your partner too. So for example, if Britta was on that last video, so if I do Britta and I want to go and share it with Britta, I can do that too. I can let her comment. If it's one of your classmates, your lab mates, you probably want to give them full editing. So instead of just Can Comment, you probably want to do Can Edit. Click on Share and Save, and you should be able to allow them to see that then. So that would be my recommendation, that you do that. And then you can go and finish this up, type it up, include all the stuff you need, and get that to me then by midnight on Sunday. Awesome! Hope this helps.